Yes, beta, welcome to the class, and we are doing a current electricity. We have already done with the drift velocity, Ohm's law, resistances in series parallel. Today our objective is to find the EMF of electrolytic cell. Of course, electrolytic cell means electrochemical cell we are talking about. We have to see the terminal potential difference, internal resistance of the cell, and we will be going for in detail of the series and parallel combination of these cells, which is very important for your examination point of view also. So all these topics are very important. To begin with, first definition we have to take of electromotive force, the full form of EMF. EMF, we use most of the time this word with us, whose full form is electromotive force. But let you be very clear that it is not a force. This term is not a force, rather it is defined as the work done by the source in taking a unit positive charge from lower to higher potential. This is a definition for EMF. So it is not a force, it is a work done, of course, in carrying a unit positive charge. So you have to understand how the things are happening within a cell. When I am taking the cell, of course, this is a denoting sign for the cell. I am having one bigger line, one smaller line. Bigger line is for the positive terminal of the cell, and the smaller is for the negative terminal. In this, electrolyte is there, and when electrolyte is there, then of course these two are behaving like the electrodes, and there is known electrostatic force is there. If I take d as the distance between these electrodes, then the work done is equals to the force into distance. But this in equilibrium, when we talk, then this force is equals to your electrostatic force, and then work done per unit charge, we are denoting it by EMF, which is equals to work done in carrying a unit positive charge from one terminal to another terminal. And in the previous knowledge, we have discussed that electrostatic force is equals to Q into the electric field, because when one plate is positive and other is negative, then electric field is produced from A to B, while the non-electrostatic force is carrying the charge from lower terminal to higher terminal. It means negative to positive. So one force is acting from B to A, another force is acting from A to B, and under the steady state, both the forces magnitudes are equal. So magnitude of F8 is equals to Fe, and Fe we have already done. This is equals to the charge into the electric field. So if I replace this value for force here, F into D, work done, I can find that is given by QED. But you all know E into the distance, it is equals to the potential difference V. So I can get equals to V here. So when I put this value QV here for EMF, that is equals to work done upon charge, then work done is coming out to be QV. So QV divided by yours Q, so I'm getting EMF, it is equals to V, that is the potential difference between the two terminals. Of course, when the circuit is open, then only we call. And so units of the EMF are same as that of the potential difference, which is equals to volt. So EMF, it is another fine with you is that it is the energy which is provided by the cell per coulomb of charge passing through it. Or you may say it is the potential difference across the terminals of the cell when no current is flowing through the circuit. So this is the definition for the another definition I can say with for the electromotive force. And of course, to understand this diagram, the cell is given to you, that of course two electrodes are there, one is positive and other is negative. And when I complete the circuit, I will be putting some bulb to glow or something, that is denoted by the load resistance here, denoted by capital R. That is the external resistance in the circuit, by which I can see that yes, my cell is giving out some energy, and energy can be the heat energy, can be the light energy. So that is always to be taken through some resistance, and that is why in the circuit we always put some external resistance from where I can get the output, and this resistance is known as load resistance. So For a better understanding, you can have this thing that electrolyte is there. P and N are the electrodes, A and B are the points in the electrolyte. So how much you are dipping the electrodes into the electrolyte, all these things are there. Of course, current always flows from positive to negative outside the circuit, and inside the electrolyte is taking the charge from lower potential to the higher potential. It means negative to positive. So EMF, if I'm saying that V plus is the potential at the positive electrode, V minus is the potential at the negative electrode, then the potential difference is written as V plus minus of minus V minus, which is always greater than 0. So this difference is called as electromotive force. So electromotive force is not a force, it is equals to the potential difference across the terminals of the cell when no current is flowing. You have to keep this definition in your mind. Both the ways you can define, either you can say work done in the complete cycle from B to A and then back from A to B, that work done per unit charge, or another way is this. So what it is, when I'm having a cell, electrodes are there, electrolytes is there, so some internal resistance is there offered by the electrodes and the electrolytes for making the current to flow. And this internal resistance, it depends upon what is the nature of the electrodes, what is the nature of the electrolyte, what is the concentration of the electrolyte. Like we will be doing in the lab the experiment with you for with Leclanche cell or with Daniell cell. So when we take the Leclanche cell, then negative electrode is always zinc, and then carbon rod is taken as the positive electrode, ammonium chloride is taken as the electrolyte. You can do this as the project work also to study the factors on which internal resistance of an electrolytic cell depends. So these are the factors. So if I change the concentration of ammonium chloride, say in Leclanche cell, then what will happen? I can measure the internal resistance, of course, by the potentiometer. We will be discussing in the next class. Or you can devise some another method also to find the internal resistance. And of course, it depends how much distance you are keeping in between the electrodes. This small d we are taking as the distance between the electrodes. If I increase the distance, then of course more time will be taken by the charge to reach from one electrode to the another. So more resistance is to be offered. If you are dipping more area of the electrolyte, then is immersed in the electrolyte, then internal resistance will reduce. Because and that is why we are putting water in cars or inverter batteries. Inverter batteries, actually they are the cells only, but they are your rechargeable cells are there. It means they are getting recharged. And otherwise, with the cells which are you people are using in torches or in your TV remotes, these are non-rechargeable cells. Those are primary cell. Leclanche cell, basically dry cell is your Leclanche cell only. So dry cell which you are using in your day-to-day life, that is Leclanche cell, and ammonium chloride is the electrolyte in that. And of course, temperature of the electrolyte, it depends. It is having the inverse relation. So it means if temperature is increasing, then internal resistance decreases, or vice versa. So these are the factors on which the internal resistance is depending. And of course, internal resistance is the resistance which is offered to the current flowing by the electrolytic cell. So about the electrolytic cell, you should be having very clear idea. Dry cell, because you are using, and if you want to learn more, you can break one of the cell which has been used, and then you can see the electrodes, you can see the electrolyte. Now there will be in the paste form. When in the lab we will be using, it will be in the liquid form. Ammonium chloride, you will dissolve in water to make the electrolyte. We want to find the relation between the internal resistance, which is denoted by small r, EMF, that is denoted by epsilon or capital E, because capital E many times we have used for electric field also. So I'm trying to use epsilon, but if you use capital E, it is equally correct, no problem. And the R is what? That is the external resistance, or you may say load resistance. So if this is the circuit with me, then symbol for the cell, that is a big line and a small line, Along with that, you will draw small resistance, that is R, that is the internal resistance. So this complete is the symbol for your electrolytic cell, because you know some internal resistance is being offered by the cell. Capital R is the external resistance. So it means it can be a bulb, it can be anything like a speaker can be there which you want to turn on by putting it into the circuit. So basically in most of the cases we use LED to let it glow and you can see the glow. And if I say V is the potential difference across this resistor, of course in Ohm's law also we have done, if I want to find the potential difference, I will be putting a voltmeter across it. Voltmeter is a device to measure the potential difference. And if I am finding it is coming out to be V, and if I put the voltmeter across this cell, then I am getting it V dash. These are my suppositions. Supposition should be clear, and of course conventional current always from positive to negative. So the direction of the current is to be shown. Now by the definition of EMF, it is work done in carrying a unit positive charge along the closed circuit. It means across against this R and this complete circuit against this small r also. So it means it has to be equals to V plus V dash. But V using Ohm's law, it is equals to IR, and V dash it is equals to I small r. So I am getting I common, and inside I am getting capital R plus small r. So current you are getting I equals to epsilon capital R upon epsilon upon capital R plus small r. So this is the value of the current which is there in the circuit I can find, and in this formula I am using EMF, external resistance and internal resistance. So this is the relation also when I am finding the current. Now the thing is, if I want to write it in terms of the terminal potential difference, of course you know that when I take the potential difference across the circuit, when the key is closed, it means circuit is closed. Now this is another way to show you the circuit. Of course, external resistance, whenever we will be giving in the lab, we can use the resistance box to provide the external resistance. And this is the symbol for the cell. When no key is inserted means the circuit is open circuit, no current is drawn. Then whatever the voltmeter will measure, that is equals to the EMF. And when we put this key, it means we close the circuit, then the whatever we measure across the cell, that is potential difference or terminal potential difference, you may say, that is the potential difference across the cell when the circuit is closed. And now this terminal potential difference, which is V across this resistor, is equals to IR. And if you put the value of I here, which we have derived, that is equals to epsilon upon R plus R, then I get that V, it is coming out to be, which is equals to epsilon minus V dash by the definition we have done. So this I am getting epsilon minus IR. So what it is, your terminal potential difference is less than EMF when current is drawn. This is again very important thing. Most of the times you should be aware of this thing, that V is always less than EMF. Terminal potential difference is less than EMF. If I want to write the internal resistance in terms of epsilon and V, then I can write it here by using this formula only. I can take the value, this formula, that is E minus V equals to IR, or R can be written as E minus V upon I. And I can be written as yours V upon R. So you can put the value. This is the formula which we will be using in the lab for finding the internal resistance of a cell. Then it means I should be knowing the EMF, I should be knowing the terminal potential difference and the external resistance, which is always to be taken out from the resistance box. So value will be known to you. Now the thing is, if I say that the circuit is open circuit, means no current is being drawn, so it means I it is equals to 0. And when I it is equals to 0 in this formula for V equals to epsilon minus IR, I becomes 0, then V becomes equals to E. It means terminal potential difference becomes equals to EMF when no current is drawn from the circuit. The maximum current which can be drawn, that is only when R you take equals to 0, then I maximum you are getting equals to epsilon upon R. So in most of the cells, maximum allowed current is lower than this current, because we don't want to damage the cell. So these things should be known, that how much maximum current can be drawn from a cell. So this is the graph for showing the relation between EMF or potential difference with external resistance R. Of course, EMF is independent of the external resistance R, so I will be getting a line parallel to the resistance. But for the terminal potential difference, it will depend according to this relation. You can always verify from the formula. This is for discharging of the cell. For discharging of the cell, V is always less than E. So V equals to E minus IR, this formula. And for this formula only, if I plot the graph for epsilon or V with I, then this is a graph coming like this. With a decreasing value of your voltage, or you can say the EMF, and at this point it is becoming equals to 0 EMF. And this slope, which is negative of E upon I, is giving you the internal resistance of that cell. But you should keep this formula in your mind for charging of the cell, terminal potential difference. When you do the charging for the of course rechargeable cells, then V is greater than EMF, and then V can be written as E plus IR. So these both the formula should be clear in your mind for discharging and for charging of the cell. And of course the graphs can be asked, so you should be aware of these graphs. Now, if I want to write the difference between the EMF and the terminal potential difference, or I can simply wish to do the comparison of the things, then EMF is the maximum potential difference between the electrodes when no current is drawn, or you can say work done in the closed circuit, both the definitions, any definition you can write, or potential difference, it is when the circuit is closed. Of course, EMF is independent of the resistance, we have seen from the graph also, but it depends upon the resistance. EMF is only used for the source of the cell, or for the cell we can use the term EMF. But this potential difference, it can be measured between any 2 points of the circuit. It is our choice, we want to measure where. So we can measure between any 2 points, not compulsory for the cell. And of course, EMF is greater than potential difference when you are talking about the discharging, of course, but potential difference can be greater only when cell is being charged, not otherwise. So these are the points which you have to keep in mind for the difference of EMF and the terminal potential difference. Now, if I want to talk about the combination of the different cells, first case is in series. If I am having series, means I am connecting negative of the cell with positive of the another cell, and so on. So if these are the two cells, of course the direction of current is from positive to negative, so it is going from right to left, you can see. Now if I am saying internal resistance in the first cell is R1 when EMF is E1, for the second cell it is R2 when EMF is E2, then for the combination I can make the equivalent resistance is R equivalent and EMF is equivalent. But you have already studied resistances in series. When resistances are in series, then your V equals to V1 plus V2 we have done. So here in this case, epsilon equivalent will be equals to epsilon 1 plus epsilon 2. So it means this is the formula, and of course current will be the same. So I have to write the potential difference from between A and B point, which is given by VA minus VB, and for discharging, of course the formula we have derived, that is epsilon minus IR, so it will be epsilon 1 minus IR1. Similarly for BC it will be VB minus VC, which is equals to E2 minus IR2. And if you want to find A to C, then it will be equals to VA minus VC, which is by subtracting these two values. So you are getting E1 minus IR1 minus of E2 minus IR2. You may use the symbol E or epsilon. So if you compare with the equivalent equation, then it means this value E1 plus E2 is the equivalent EMF, and R1 plus R2, which is equals to equivalent resistance. The circuit you can draw like this for showing the external resistance in the circuit, or simply this is your choice, whatever way you want to represent the things. But internal resistance values is to mention. Now if I am having n identical cells with me, then E equivalent is given by NE and R equivalent is given by NR. So I can write the formula for I, which is coming out to be N epsilon divided by R plus NR. This is the value for the current. And if I take R is greater than small nr, then what happens? I am getting the current is coming out to be maximum value, which is equals to N times the current drawn from one cell. But if I have the external resistance R is less than NR, then I will be equals to epsilon upon R. It means it is simply behaving like a single cell, though. So no use for putting the external resistance value less. So this will be only of importance when external resistance is greater. So if external resistance is much greater than the total internal resistance of the cell, then only the series combination will be of some use for you. Now if I take the combination of the different cells in parallel, like we have done for parallel combination, I have to put like this. So potential difference has to be the same. EMF we are supposing E1 and E2, internal resistances we are taking R1 and R2, and this is the external resistance R, which is joined in the circuit. Now what happens? Current I is flowing and it is getting divided into two parts. One is I1 and other is I2. So current I is given by I1 plus I2. So I have to write the value of I1 and I2 from this previous knowledge, that for first cell I am getting V equals to E1 minus IR1. So it means I1 I will be getting here's E1 minus V upon R1. For the second cell if I write, so I2 will be getting E2 minus V upon R2. So by putting the value of I1 and I2, I can get the value of I, which is coming out to be this written as epsilon 1 upon R1 plus epsilon 2 upon R2 minus V into 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. Now if I compare it with my equivalent equation, that is equals to epsilon equivalent upon R equivalent minus V upon V into R equivalent. So I can write the value of the R equivalent, which is coming out to be 1 upon R equivalent is 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. But epsilon equivalent upon R equivalent is coming out to be epsilon 1 upon R1 plus epsilon 2 upon R2. Or otherwise you can write the formula in this way for epsilon equivalent and for R equivalent. And if you want to write for n cells, then of course you can write this value n times. And this is again very important formula, can be used in many numeric. Now if I have n identical cells in parallel, it means all the EMFs are same and the resistances, internal resistances are also same. Then it means total EMF is given by E and total internal resistance is given by R upon N. So current can be given as NE upon NR plus small r. So now if external resistance is less than the internal resistance value, then only I am getting current is maximum. But if external resistance is greater, then current is coming same as that of a single cell. So it is of no use. So only if external resistance is less than the internal resistance, then I can get the maximum current. It means in the first case you can get the maximum current. So you have to mind this thing. Of course we can go with the mixed grouping of the cells. If I have n cells, I am taking, let m rows are there and n number of cells are joined in each row in series like shown to you. So total number of cells are m into n, and internal resistance of each row is equals to nr. Net internal resistance of each row is nr. And if there are m such rows in parallel, so internal resistance r dash will be given by nr upon m, simply by using the formula for parallel combination of the cells m times I have to take 1 upon nr. So this is the internal resistance for this whole combination, series and parallel. So it means total resistance is capital R plus nr upon small m. Or current drawn, you can write by simply total EMF upon total resistance, so which is equals to small ne. Total EMF will be equals to ne, and its total resistance is R plus nr plus upon m. So this is the formula for current. And if I want to get this current to be maximum, this denominator mr plus nr should be equals to minimum. So to get the minimum value, I'm writing it in the form of squares. So I'm getting it equals to square root of mr square plus square root of nr square. So I'm adding and subtracting 2 square root mr square root nr, and I can write this formula this way. So I will be getting that R, it is equals to nr upon m. This is the condition for the getting the current to be maximum. This is again in your NCERT, they have given you the maximum power theorem, which states that output power of the EMF is maximum when external resistance is coming out to be internal resistance of the source. This is the statement for the maximum power theorem. And if you want to prove it, we have already done for the current through any device. It is equals to total EMF upon total resistance. It means epsilon upon R plus R. So I am having the cell EMF E, internal resistance R, capital R as the external resistance, same supposition with me. So if I put the value, want to find the value of power output, as we have already derived this formula, power it is equals to I square R. So if I put the value of I, which is equals to epsilon upon R plus small r, so I will be getting this value with me, epsilon square R divided by capital R plus small r whole square. So I can write this as R minus small r whole square plus 4rr. It means if I add and subtract, then I can get this formula written in this form. So to get this power maximum, the denominator should have the minimum value, which is only possible if I am getting R minus R equals to 0 or external resistance equals to internal resistance. And if you put this value here, capital R equals to small r in this formula for power, you are getting the maximum power is coming out to be epsilon square divided by 4r. But still, if you want to find the efficiency, which is equals to VI upon EI, output power divided by input power. So output is terminal potential difference, input is EMF. So if you put the value of V and epsilon with you, then you are getting this value that when I put capital R equals to small r, efficiency I get only 50%. So this also should be known to you, that even if I am getting the maximum power of the cell, efficiency is still 50%. So this keep the things of case, you can be asked power dissipated for the cell. So basically you get the questions on power with the electrolytic cell or the electrochemical cell. And of course we can discuss questions in the coming lecture. So keep things up to this. Thank you.